Hi there, guys. If you found this video, it's probably because you want to learn to analyze fix and flip properties very quickly. So you've come to the right place. And if you haven't already, make sure you go to my website, royceofrealestate.com, enter your email address, and then press subscribe me. Within a couple minutes, you're going to get an email saying, hey, I'm glad that you're here, and this is where you're going to want to click to download the deal analysis spreadsheet. Now, I know that's why you're here, so let's go ahead and dig in. I want to make this as simple as possible for you. On that same thread, this deal analysis spreadsheet is very, very simplistic, partially for the reasons of I have used some that are very in depth and give you all the numbers that you could ever possibly need. And man, I even find them a little overwhelming. And when you're out there on your hustle looking at a lot of different properties, the more important thing is that you run the analysis quickly if there's any juice on it, to send a offer as quickly as possible and not get hung up in doing so much due diligence behind the computer that you miss the boat on just getting in front of more opportunities. So let's go ahead and dig in. On this first sheet that you see that says information, anything in yellow is going to need to be filled in. So just for example's sake, let's go ahead and keep that the same. There's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. The property is 1,500 square feet. It was year built, is built in 1980. I'm going to put the cross streets there. How do we get into it? When did we buy it? Oh, and on that note, anytime you see a little red dash up in the upper right hand corner, I've made a note there for you. So like for instance on this one it says when did you buy or expect to close on the property. So do know that there's some guiding notes in here to guide you through this pretty easily. This fix and flip sheet is solely for the purpose of fixing and flipping properties. Again, there are analysis spreadsheets out there that can run you through several different scenarios, and they can get very complicated. The whole purpose of this one is to look at fix and flips, keep it simple, make offers, and do deals as a guideline for your price per square foot for your fix up. Now, again, these are general guidelines in my area. Make sure that you adjust the notes to reflect yours. So in my notes, I have $12 to $15 a square foot would be a minor cosmetic rehab, 16 to 20 would be a full rehab, and then 20 plus is the gut plus systems like HVAC, major plumbing, roofing, foundation, things like that. Again, please make sure you're adjusting that for your area. If you don't know the price per square footage, then make sure that you're talking to other investors, getting educated, and in general, just learning what the price of things are. There's many ways to go about that, much of which can be found online. Okay, so pickup price. All this means is the acquisition, you're purchasing it. So your purchase price, $150,000. Now I've estimated that I'm going to spend around $35,000 to get this to full market value. What is the most that I can get out of this property and renovating it to a level that is consummate to other comps that I've looked at, or if you're aware of the area already, that you know that that is top dollar for the area. So in this instance, if you're using hard money, which I'm assuming you are, and not using your own hard-earned capital, or you're using some of other sort of private funds, this formula in here is a generalized 70% of your purchase price. So it's going to go off of 70% of this purchase price. Okay, same thing. If there's fees, points, whatever you want to, however you want to categorize them, points or flat fees, you would enter that here. Hard money is assuming a 15%. Again, numbers here are very generalized, and I encourage you to call around and find out what is good for your area, what sort of interest rates are considered normal. Talk to a few hard money lenders and figure out what you're going to be paying, because this is a big part of the acquisition cost. And then how long you expect to hold the property. 120 days from start to finish, and that means from the time that you close on the contract until the time that the end buyer closes and it resells. Okay, so that one you will need to fill in from your best guesstimate, typically having pulled comps or talked to an agent to say this is on average, if you fully rehab a house in this area, what it'll take to sell. Everything else in here will get calculated for you. The other things that you'll need to fill in, for instance, we're in a title state. So if you're in an attorney state, just adjust these things accordingly. I have no way of knowing what the numbers are going to be for your area, so you'll need to either do your own due diligence or best guesstimate here. And then once all the numbers in yellow are plugged in, these totals will come out. So when you really think you're paying $150,000 for a house, ultimately, after everything's said and done, you're really paying 192 after the full rehab, closing costs, hard money fees, HOA, title fees, etc. This is where a lot of people think that if you purchase a house for 150, sell it for 250, well gosh, you must be making $100,000, right? Not so much, and here's why. So even if we sell that same house for $250,000, if you're paying 6% in commissions, and again, you need to fill this in, anything in yellow does need to be filled in. Say you also give $5,000 in seller concessions, and all that means is when a buyer comes to the table, you as the seller are contributing towards their closing costs and say a home warranty. So in all inclusively between what you're providing the buyer in this case could be $5,500. Again, with title, taxes, you'll need to fill that in. And same thing with HOA dues and any miscellaneous costs that have come up at the last minute. What this does is after everything is said and done, it gives you what your gross profit is going to be. This does not account for taxes, guys. So keep in mind you will have to pay personal taxes on this. I am not an attorney. I am also not a tax professional. Please speak to someone that understands what your taxes may be, but your gross profit is just your top line, not including taxes. And in this case, listen, if you want to make 10% or you want to make $10,000, it doesn't make a difference to me, although I always encourage you to have a bare litmus. So in this case, we stuck in 10%. And what that looks like is your gross profit is $34,000, 406 cents and 92 cents. So in this instance, you might have heard of maximum allowable offer, anything like that. It really comes down to what your purchase price is and the rest of these costs. So I don't want you to get too hung up on a singular number because there's quite a few things in here that can be manipulated. One of which is, say it only takes $25,000 to repair this house. Say I only hold it for 100 days. Okay, so a lot of things could change in here, okay, but I really want you to learn how to guesstimate based on experience, talking to other professionals, what's average for your area, for that neighborhood, or if you specialize in an area. So that way some of these numbers are already in there and you can adjust them slightly to go through this in 5 minutes and know what you can really offer to make your minimum profit. The rest of these tabs in here, I'm not going to get too hung up on. I want to keep this video short and sweet. The walkthrough is pretty self-explanatory and very simple. Just a lot of the line items that need to be done on a day-to-day basis from before you start the rehab, first time you walk through it, all the way through the first 24 hours after you have already walked through it, and then 4 days of your walkthrough from there. So it just really gets you on a runway of everything that needs to be done, talking to any contractors, putting everything in place, running your numbers, and then you're off to the races. With your cost repair estimate, this will take some due diligence to guesstimate or estimate what your costs are going to be. And then your cost breakdown is just an area for you to plug in all of the numbers that you've been spending. And I encourage you to do this if you're new on a daily basis or at least on a weekly basis to make sure that you're staying in budget. So there it is, guys, the quick and dirty of this fix and flip breakdown sheet. Again, my intention is to keep it very simple for you. I want you to be able to run the numbers in 5 minutes once you're comfortable with a few things, one of which is having comps sent to you or you knowing the comps. Because you've done due diligence there, your cost repair estimate, even if it's based on the price per square foot, and really just getting out there, making offers, and not getting stuck in the thick of just overanalyzing to the point where you lose opportunities, okay? So thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoy my other videos. Make sure to visit my website at royceofrealestate.com for other information about fixing and flipping homes and creating a life you love through real estate investing.